Hello, and welcome to episode 61 of That Does Not Belong to Me. We are here for another segment of Dear Sisters.
Sisters. Sisters. I thought we could have rehearsed that a bit better.
In harmony. In harmony.
In harmony. Welcome to Dear Sisters.
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 Okay, well,
Didn't work.
so if you've been tuning into the podcast, which I hope you have, and if you haven't, you need to go back and listen to the last at least, I don't know, 5 episodes, if not 60 episodes. That would be great if you could do that. And rate and review while you're at it, because that's apparently very helpful. But we've been doing this segment, just me and Nikki, who is the middle sister, which is why if you're watching this on YouTube, I think I'm putting it on YouTube, you'll see that she's seated in the middle. She insisted.
If I'm stuck in the middle, I'm going to be stuck in the middle.
That's right. So
Right.
now we have another sister. She's our secret sister named Tara. Tara, how do you feel?
I thought Nikki was a secret sister.
I am.
Nobody knew about Nikki.
Everyone knows you.
She's the meat in our sister sandwich.
Tara, are you nervous to be here? Is this your first podcast ever?
I'm so nervous.
Do you know what we're doing together today?
No idea. No clue what you've wrapped me into.
Wonderful, because neither do we.
But you are a fan of the show, aren't you?
I'm a
Tara?
fan. Yes. At least we can start there.
When you listen to it, do you interrupt the whole time and like pretend like you're talking to us?
I talk back at you guys all the time. Correct you.
Yes.
You have no idea.
I bet.
As the oldest sister, this is my job. This is what I do.
Did you have opinions on Nikki being cross-eyed?
Oh yeah. What's your opinion? Oh no, she did give us she said that when you're tired,
Squinty eye.
you and Jamie have googly eyes, and did you say I was cross-eyed too when I'm tired?
No, it's the squinty eye. It's like one
Squinty-
eye,
oh,
one
those
eye
things.
drops. Yeah.
Okay, so I just have misshaped eyes. Is that like asymmetric type of deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that kid was just trying to throw you. Really. I think it worked. Whatever they were trying to accomplish, it worked.
We've been talking about it for a long
It was
time.
a power struggle.
It's just
and-
because I know he's not mean, he's just really honest. So that's the worst kind, you know? It's when you have to really start thinking about it. Yeah.
I also want to mention that a past caller who will remain anonymous, who has asked a question, which we responded about a friendship that she is in, has been in for a very long time. And she doesn't agree with the relationship, the romantic relationship that her friend has. And it's been very hard on their friendship. And so,
Because she's the friend
yes,
is in an abusive relationship, right? And so our caller has a hard time watching that dynamic, and she is having a hard time watching her friend being in this destructive type
Yes.
of relationship. Yes. Okay.
And they had a little situation more recently, a little bit of a blow up where our caller was very honest about her
Oh.
feelings about her friend's partner, and she decided she's just gonna do the fade away from here.
Oh.
So, and I respect that a lot. I think we often think that's not the grown-up thing to do, and that we all need to have big girl and big boy and big people conversations when we're not happy with something, or we want to, clear the energy, or have what's it called? Closure. That's the word I'm looking for.
Mhm.
But sometimes the fade away, I don't know. It's just the right thing to do.
It's funny. I actually was in touch with her as well, and I had just told her that this morning.
Ah,
I was like, sometimes just fading away is the way to go when you can't watch someone self-destruct anymore. Whether they're in a bad relationship or whether they're reaching for whatever kind of vice is hurting them. It's just so hard to watch our loved ones hurting themselves. So just to take that distance without, like you said, needing necessarily a huge conversation. Yeah, I'm all for that. So
I
that's
think
what
this
she
is a
chose.
great topic, actually, that we could all kind of chime in on. Also, I just want to mention the elephant in the room, which is that we're all looking at the computer right now, so if you're listening to this on a podcast, you can't see us. We're not looking at each other. We're looking at the screen to try to make the sound quality as good as possible. And we're sorry in advance if it's not, because this is new to be 3 people on the podcast. So, but here we are doing it anyways, right?
Yeah.
Better done than perfect. But what's been coming up a lot in my homecoming is also we're reading the Let Them Theory. Tara, have you started that book yet?
Nah.
Tara?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Basically, she just says if you do the
Such good
Let Them
intention.
Theory for every situation in your life will be a lot easier and a lot better.
So you don't need to read the book.
You don't need to read the book. You just have to say let them. You just have to say let them, and then you say let me do my own thing. Basically, is the summation of it. But there is a section on friendships, which I haven't gotten to yet. It's in the second part of the book, and it created some conversation in our chat group for the homecoming. And a lot of these women are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even, and it's just a beautiful conversation around how friendships evolve and those friends that we had that were like so valuable to us at certain points in our lives, and we get this distance sometimes that happens due to life circumstances, and sometimes we feel this guilt around that, like, oh, I haven't made time for them, oh, and it's not for not loving that person, it's not for not wanting to know more about what's going on in that person's world or whatever it is. It's about our time and energy that is actually available to us, and we don't have a limitless amount. So where y'all at on the friendship circle? Tara, do you have friends? Lean back when you laugh, so I know.
I was kind of asked that the other day. Did I tell you guys about that? I was asked it the other day. Do you have friends? And I was like, oh my God, am I one of those people who look like they can't sustain a friendship?
Who else
Like,
do that? Was it
I'm
the
not
same
gonna
kid who asked
say-
me if I was
I'm not gonna
friends?
say it was an old friend.
Oh.
And I don't think, like, she wasn't being rude or anything. She was like genuinely curious. Do you have friends? And I was like, oh wow. Do I give that kind of, do I project no friends?
I think you seem busy is a big part of it.
Right.
Right?
What I've found in as I really kick down 50's doorstep, is I have like curated this very, very dear group of close friends that I value so much. And some are like super new just in the last few years, and some are like back from Bishop's University, like that we still, FaceTime every now and then, like, and that know me inside out. Like, so they run the gamut and they're just my people.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
And us.
Yes.
We're
And you,
friends.
yes. And you.
We're
Yes.
friends. Nikki, I wanted to mention, I forgot to ask this last time. Remember when we got a question in about your boundaries?
Yeah.
From knowing me. And she had said, like, you're really good at boundaries. Do you revisit them? And I forgot to check in with you and ask, do you think you've set boundaries with her one too many times? And it was what she's asking you. Like, as in she invites you to things and you say no.
You know what? That's funny because I was thinking about it after. I was like, that's so interesting that she thinks I have good boundaries, because most people who know me think that I have terrible boundaries just because that's how it's been most of my life. The good boundaries has been very recent. But so I was thinking, how did she come to that conclusion? Well, probably, yeah, there's been a couple times where, but I think she and I are actually both so busy, but we love seeing each other. And it's so funny because I think now we're down to like maybe twice a year that we see each other, but like she's so in my heart, and I guess I'm in hers too, because we continue making that effort. At least now it's like twice a year. So she's been on my mind recently because we usually do like a spring thing, or usually after Christmas type of things. So I guess we're after Christmas now. And
Only 4 months.
I'm just so terrible at social stuff right now. It's just not a priority. And I was just invited to a really dear friend's wedding in Scotland. And she, oh my gosh, she was so sweet. She offered to fly me down and everything. And yes.
Oh, I'll go.
Oh my God. I know.
She listens to the podcast. Oh, hi, Jill.
Hi, Jill. Oh my God, I'm so excited for you. And anyway, so I sent her a voice message that she really didn't need to hear, with this rant about how obsessed I am with spending all my time with my family, especially vacation time. Because I don't know why, but it's like almost a compulsive type thing. Like I need
is
to
with you,
spend
yes.
every minute with
Yes,
my
it is with
freaking
you.
family, my children who drive me crazy. I have to be with them all the time. So for me to leave them and go on vacation, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
I think that's
You need to do
beautiful. It's such a beautiful act of prioritizing of prioritizing.
Thank you.
And so many people think
Thank you.
I should do that because blah, 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 but it's a should. So, you know, when you really
Mhm.
break it down as to like what, and it doesn't mean Jill's not important to you.
Right.
It doesn't
Of
equate
course.
that. It's not one or the other. It's just that your priorities right now, with the time you do have that spare, is with your family.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I feel like it's so precious and they're not going to want anything to do with me soon. Right?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
like
It's
there.
already
Yeah.
there. It's already there. So when they do want something to do with me or need me, I just want to show up and have the
Yeah.
time and energy for them. So
I think that's great. I was just recently having this realization that as we're kind of talking about like paring down a little bit, right? Like less is more, quality over quantity in terms of our relationships and the people we're giving our time and energy to. And I was realizing that I say I love you to almost everyone in my life. And
Aw.
but it was like interactions on Instagram with someone who I've become Instagram friends with who lives in California. And I was like, I love you. And then chatting with Victoria Marsh, who's a lovely like yoga student, and we go on walks together, but we're not like super close friends. And we had a back and forth on Instagram, and I was like, I love you, and I really meant it. I really
You
mean
mean it.
it. I'm not just saying that, but so it's just neat to see like. I think for me, I do have very close friendships that these women in my life are like family. And, but then I have also this wonderful pool of people that I really value and love.
Mm.
So, but it doesn't mean I always like hang out with them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we started talking about this because of
Caller.
our caller who was talking about the relationship, and I was thinking a lot about that, and I just felt like I needed to add a little something about abusive relationships because I recently saw somebody who's struggling with basically what happened was she was in a toxic relationship. It was never physically abusive, but abusive psychologically and verbally. And her main issue now, and I have a few clients like this, but their main issue is the partner's voice has become internalized. So it's their own thoughts now that rip them to shreds. So but mostly saying, that I'm just not good enough, which makes it so hard for people to leave an abusive relationship. And when I was working at the women's shelter, the stats at the time was it takes an average of 11 times for a woman or a man, like let's just say someone, the victim, to leave an abusive relationship. And that is because they are ripped down and isolated. So they don't have self-confidence. A lot of the time financially they're not okay because they've been taken advantage of. So it makes it like a spider web, like they just can't leave. So I wanted to just, because we didn't really talk about that last time, it's really complex. I think we referred to it as a toxic relationship, but the caller mentioned it's abusive. So that's a whole other level. And there's a wonderful resource here called Horizon pour Elle that helps victims of abuse. And I just wanted to, and there's a wonderful social worker who's bilingual there. So if you're English speaking and you're in a relationship that has abusive tendencies, even if you're not sure if it's abusive, they'll help you to, to kind of identify what is going on and give you a little support. And so I just wanted to let you know that. And also those voices that now become yours in your head after the abusive relationship, those are thoughts that have just been conditioned into you. And so a lot of that is just noticing the thoughts first. As soon as you start noticing them, then you can start getting rid of them. But it takes the noticing first, because sometimes it's just impulsive. Like I'll spill something and say, "Oh, I'm such an idiot," because I've been told I'm an idiot, over and over again. So we just have to notice it when we're being bullies to ourselves.
Thanks so much for mentioning that and for giving that resource. I'll put it in the show notes as well. And it's not just with romantic relationships, right? Like this is a huge aspect of that does not belong to me, of human design in general, is the deconditioning we're all trying to do at this point in our lives. Once we start to realize that we have a choice, that once we start to bring awareness into our lives, because and so I'm saying not just romantic relationships, but obviously we had parents who were communicating to us in a certain way, or we were witnessing their own communication to themselves too. Like our dad is really hard on himself
Yeah.
on himself when he makes a mistake or when something bad happens. He's the meanest to himself. Then
Well,
that
so our mom actually taught uh, our us stuff, but my baristas as well have learned to do this. She was doing something and spilled something, and heard her go, "I love you, Connie Bar." And and I said, "Did you just tell yourself that you love yourself?" And she said, "Yes, when I do something that I don't like, that I've done wrong, I just tell myself I love myself."
That's so cool.
And some of the baristas picked it up, and I have to remind it's a practice. Like you have to remind
Yes.
yourself to do it. But it actually helps. Like
Yes.
there's so many times in a day where you beat yourself up, and just those like few little words will change how you think of yourself. Like, and
But it's the noticing, eh? Like Nikki
yeah,
said, because you could just so easily go on with your day after you've internally beat yourself up.
Yeah.
right.
But if you can catch yourself, even after you've said, "Oh, you idiot," or
Yeah.
those awful things we say,
Yeah.
and then switch it.
Yeah.
But then ideally more by habit, it becomes,
Yeah.
"I love you." I've seen this
I love
thing.
myself.
There's this trend of like things that people do, like the whimsies that people do. Like I did Whimsy Wednesday at Virgin Hill, kind of based on this, but someone said that when they break something or drop something, they go end scene. As if it's like the big end of an act, you know? All right, well, we're gonna keep shooting the shit, but should we take our one and only question from someone that's outside of us?
Absolutely.
Right.
That would be
Yes.
great.
So my friend that I hung out with last night, we played board games together, and I asked her, "Hey, we're recording tomorrow. Do you have a question?" Because I don't have any, and I forgot we were doing this. So
No, you didn't. You've been looking forward all week to it.
I have. Okay, so we've got a couple parts to this question, okay?
Okay.
So one of them is that, so she has some family members in the States, and usually they take a big family trip to the States. They go there and meet like hang out with, there's like 15, 18 people, cousins, they get to see each other, they really have a great time. Her mom and her sister are the trio that are coming from here, and they don't want to go this year. They're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to New Brunswick instead. And the family in the States doesn't get it. They don't get it. And she said it's like they don't see what's actually going on. So, without getting too political, her question was along the lines of, "Dear sisters, with the state of the world, how do you deal with family members that have differing views or opinions?"
Wow.
So, I'm saying without getting too political, but it's like this is a really big and hard question, right? So, any first thoughts?
This is it is a big one because I think what's happening now is so immense and so big. And so for people to not recognize it, it causes fear, I think. Like I think we're afraid of people burying their heads, or maybe not even burying their heads, but actually agreeing with maybe the political situation in the States, like Trump supporters or whatever. Like it's like they it goes against fundamental values. So it's really hard to not go there. And it's really hard to, I was thinking about it recently. I was like, if I had anyone in my life who was a Trump supporter, would I be able to keep them in my life?
What was your answer?
Well, it was no. It was no, because tolerate I can't tolerate discrimination. I just can't. I mean, I would still keep them. I would still continue conversations, but I would need to have, a couple arms lengths away from them. I would not agree. My core values would not align with theirs. It just.
Tara? I feel like her mind is spinning. You're watching.
It's a hard one.
Well, because there's a shift, right? It from political to an opinion that is far deeper than that even. I with these kinds of things, I try to stay so surface level. And I mean, we've talked about this before. As a business owner, you really you try to stay right down the center of things, and not to take too strong of an opinion in any direction at all on anything.
That must be really hard.
Yeah, I always think like you don't have the luxury of being able to have a strong opinion. You can, of course you can, but then you make that decision as well, right? So
Yeah.
And if the fear of that is that if you were to have a strong opinion, you would lose some clientele.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Right.
you know, and I think that they're in a situation in the US, you know, where they don't have that luxury. They have to make a stand. A lot of you know, companies and places have to take a stand and have to make things right. I thought this was going to be fun.
Well, it's just a great question. I mean, if we really break it down, if we even talk about something like almost going back to our caller whose friend was in
The
an
abusive
relationship, where it's more about, again, we're like talking about relationships, right? And I feel like when we get to really choose, because we do, who we spend time with, who we invest our energy in, you want to be, it doesn't mean you need to be on the exact same page as someone. You need to be able to have discussion and disagreements, and that's so normal. But again, it's the values, right? It's the deep core values that you hope that there's going to be a bit of an overlap, or that, yeah, maybe you don't have the same values, but you could learn from them. You could grow because of, you know, taking in what they love so much, you know, a different perspective.
Yeah.
But when someone is like racist and sexist and all these other, you know, qualities, that's when it becomes tricky. And on this note, I'll switch up the vibe a little because she had kind of a part two. So sorry, we didn't answer your question. Next question. Next. Can I have a lifeline? This one is really interesting though, because her biological, she doesn't have a relationship with her father. I think her father lives in the States. And her father is like very pro-Trump, anti-abortion, racist, homophobic, like all of that under the sun. This is her biological father. So the question then we were talking about was more around nature nurture. And she kind of had the thought of like, what if we said, what a blessing that you didn't have him in your life, actually. And the question she had is if she had been raised by him and maybe both of her parents, would she have had a portion of that? Would that have become part of her beliefs? We were just talking about conditioning, right? And I'd like to think not. Like, I'd like to think that we're each our own individual person. And I mean, I always say that when you meet someone's father and you're like, oof, that, you know, that man has not great values and whatnot. And then you make that association, oh, but that's their kid, that's their son, that's their daughter. Oh, and we're not our parents. We're not our siblings. And so there's it's so interesting because we were all three raised by the same people, obviously different timelines and whatnot. And we're similarities for sure, but at a certain point, again, it's almost like you reach that point of like full consciousness where you can be like, I am unplugging and deprogramming from all of this so I can figure out what I actually believe in. But there's also that nurture part, right? As in like we are taking in from society, from the people we surround ourselves with, not just that biological figure. And adoption comes into this too, where I don't know I don't know what the question is either, but I guess it would be.
Well, and we can have our own children that are so different than us. Like, we raise them with our values and everything, but they're just so different. Whereas, you know, maybe we could adopt a child and they would be kindred spirits. Like, so I believe everyone in our life is there to teach us a lesson, and whether that lesson is harsh or kind, we're learning. So sometimes I feel like my own children are there to teach me a lesson, and sometimes those lessons are pretty harsh.
And can even teach us what we don't stand for, or teach us what we don't want in our lives. Right? It's not always that we're taking in that information and then it becomes ours. It might, you know, make us have a response that's the opposite of that.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Tara, nature nurture thoughts? You don't like this? You're not happy to be
Tara
here.
just really is so miserable. She can't wait to go back to work.
Okay. We're gonna go to our next caller, which is Tara.
No, it's anonymous. This is anonymous.
This is anonymous.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's totally fine. I'm sure you won't get it.
It's okay. So Tara's calling from an anonymous caller.
Okay.
This is anonymous.
Want me to read it? She doesn't have her glasses.
I think I can read it. If it even makes
She
sense.
literally wrote it 5 minutes ago.
No, it's an
Oh, yes, sorry.
anonymous.
Sorry.
Someone wrote this in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Dear sisters, how do I tell my husband that his chewing is going to make me kill him without hurting his feelings?
Okay, wait a second. I think this is, remember we were just talking about nature, nurture, and conditioning? I think Dad conditioned us to really not be able to stand anyone chewing with their mouth open. Yeah, because I have
Do
the,
you think that's bad though? Because I don't.
you know,
I remember being yelled at. I remember I can have
Yeah.
a visualization of the dining room table and inside the marina, probably eating spaghetti.
yeah.
And him losing it. Like one specific moment, but I know it happened many times of don't chew with your mouth open.
Yeah.
But now as a grown up, when I meet anyone who does, I'm like, where did you even get raised? I don't understand. Like I really don't have, so I'm with you, Tara.
No, but not just like chewing. It's
Just chewing.
Just chewing.
Oh, okay.
And
it's good table
sometimes
manners.
breathing.
Yeah.
Breathing too.
So this is why I love Instagram, because you see like reels that make you feel like not a crazy person, not so alone, because
I'm gonna get targeted now for sure.
I've seen a bunch of these of
Or this anonymous person is gonna get targeted.
by the algorithm. But yeah, this is not, it's a real thing. Like, and this is what we were saying. I thought this was actually such a good question, even though it seems like a bit of a joke, but it's not, because we all can relate to it. And also, it really is interesting how we can deeply love someone from the bottom of our heart
Oh yeah.
and look at them sometimes and hate them
Mhm.
because they're doing that. Like sometimes I'll hear Duncan chewing and I'm like rushing to get to my speaker so I can turn
You
on
gotta
music.
get out of the room.
No, I just need to
Oh.
put on background noise, and
Right.
that helps. But I feel you on this. But that's that's part of my advice is make sure
Noise.
there's other noise on in the background that drowns them out.
That's
sometimes I don't even hear it. Like sometimes I don't hear
Oh.
anyone chewing. And it's,
Oh.
yeah, it
Okay.
doesn't even bother
So
me.
it's a you thing.
I'm curious, what's happening in those times?
I don't know. I don't know.
You're probably in those times maybe more present or more, there's like, your nervous system isn't completely off kilter, I think, when in those moments where those things
Where it
are
doesn't
not,
bother you.
yeah,
Mhm.
because probably the moments where it does bother you, your nervous system is,
But-
maybe fight or flight, and like agitation's part of that.
Right.
Presence might be part of it, but I think, but it's exactly what you're saying. Well, because I can relate to when sometimes I'm multitasking and I can feel a flow in that. And sometimes I'm doing it and I'm like literally like listening to music or making a playlist for my yoga classes. And then I've got like a recording of a workshop that I'm taking and then I'm creating a post on Canva. And then sometimes I have to like throw my phone because that one extra audio coming in,
It's
which
much.
obviously all sounds like a bit much,
Mhm.
But sometimes I can be in that. So it's exactly, I think, what you're saying, where your nervous system, like and that's just in those days where it's like one too many thing got thrown at me, one too many thing I put on my own plate. It's kind of like you were talking about the day you had today, Tara, where it was like one thing after another. And so when you arrive at the next thing and there's just that one, we all know that tipping point, right? When we're on the ledge and then we spill our coffee and we lose it and something way worse has happened.
Yeah.
And then other days it
bad
doesn't
thing, but
matter
it's
at
a
all.
Yeah.
So I think you look, and that's what I love about like the idea of like alignment is some weeks you got it. Some weeks you're in that flow, right? But there's always going to be those weeks where you like plan too many things and said yes to too much, and then these other things are coming your way, and any little thing is going to just tip you over the edge to insanity.
Can I just go back to the caller's question though?
Yes.
Because I think we're not answering it. I don't want to leave this caller
Yeah,
unanswered.
without making the person feel bad.
Well, how does she address it with them, right? Without making them feel bad. And
I like that she cared enough.
yeah,
She wants to kill him, but not make him feel bad.
I do.
And when you
You mean
said
she
it's
does.
the chewing, but then you said it's the breathing too.
Sometimes breathing.
Okay, so that's where I'm like, maybe this isn't a discussion that you need to have, because how would you tell someone you being alive is bothering you?
Right. How do you say that without hurting their feelings?
You can't.
You don't, right?
You can't. The answer is I don't.
You have to be living right now.
But let's talk about what you did a couple weeks ago
Oh yeah.
as a big old solution to
Prevention.
all of this.
Prevention, maybe.
Yeah. What'd you do, Tara?
I took a weekend to myself.
She went away by herself for a weekend.
Yep. And
Hallelujah. Jesus, this is the woman who would not drink a cup of water, like would not hydrate herself. And I'm not talking that long ago.
sometimes I forget to breathe.
No wonder you get annoyed that your husband gets to breathe. It's like, why do you get to breathe and I don't?
Standing
You're
over there
jealous.
breathing
You're jealous.
and everything. Who has time for that? Yep. So I took a weekend all to myself. I did not speak to anybody. I didn't have anyone speaking at me or to me.
At me.
How did you feel when you got home?
Actually relaxed, and I don't normally. So
Mm.
this is one of those little things you do when you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I actually entered into Chat GPT. Did I tell you I did this?
I'm taking an AI course right now, so tell me more.
Yeah, tell us what you
Get with
did
the
with
times,
it.
I guess.
I entered in, why is it that when I do self-care, it never feels like enough?
Such a good question.
That should have been our question.
There, that could have been a question.
What was the answer?
Yeah,
It
what is your right
It
answer?
actually gave a great answer. I can't remember most of it because brain fog, but it was basically you need to look a little bit further. Self-care is really just surface, and you need to look further. Are you not setting boundaries? Are you not taking care, or like really looking deeper into why things like why you're needing to do the self-care and these
Like,
surface self-care things.
So you need to
in the
look
first
deeper
place.
underneath the repressed chips.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say if she had
So why aren't the chips that you've been stuffing the emotions down with for decades working anymore? Why that should have been my chat GPT question.
Indigestion, that's why.
I just want to say that if you listened to probably 3 episodes ago, we also, the first segment of Dear Sisters, we answer a similar question. I would say just as great as ChatGPT did.
Oh yeah.
But it was a friend who called in about self-care, and not like she used to have a really good self-care practice, and then something happened where she was like, I don't know how to do it anymore. But it's also, it's often more than just that. Going for a massage, right?
Right. So I would come back from doing whatever the little thing was, and I'd be like, it wasn't enough. Like I need to. And it was actually a friend that we all know, very long time friend, who's like, you need to take time for yourself.
Who, me?
Am
I that shit?
Jamie?
Am I the long time
No,
friend?
it's actually not one of you guys. But she was like, it's life changing. And she said, adult ballet and waking up early to have your coffee in peace. And I was like, that sounds awful. That sounds like my worst nightmare, actually. But I realized in that moment, I'm so far away from
Yourself.
myself and taking care of myself that I needed something. I needed an answer that I needed to start from scratch. A bubble bath was not going to fix.
I love the idea of a boundary being the best form of self-care. Like, I know we talk so much about boundaries, but it's so true that when we are putting a distance between us and something that isn't serving us, that's the best form of self-care, right? And so by you taking that space from literally probably everything in your life that maybe or sometimes serves you, a lot of the time serves you, but like all of it together, maybe not serving you right now. So just taking that literal space. Self-care.
Yeah. And I actually, for once in decades, felt good. I came home and I felt good.
Whoa.
And
Whoa.
Highly recommend.
5 stars, highly recommend.
Okay, can I just ask you, what does good feel like? What was that like for you? Because it's been years.
It's been not sitting in the car dreading going inside and addressing whatever was happening.
So you didn't dread the kind of
I could-
chaos and demands of the family?
I could go back to real life. I could reintegrate
Okay,
very
you were ready.
easily. Yes.
Okay, what made you feel ready? Like what?
Leave it
I
to
just-
Oh, you.
She did it to me last time. It's your turn.
That's why I'm here, just to take the heat off Janie.
That's why Janie got you here.
I forgot your questions, and we should just move on.
Anyway, okay, so
Anyway.
you were ready though. You were ready
Yep.
for that, those demands.
Yes.
So what was it like being by yourself?
You just want a piece of it.
I do.
No, it was good. Just the beginning was a bit weird. What do I do with myself? I was actually a bit scared, even like I am not alone with my feelings or thoughts. Like, God forbid, that would be awful.
Yeah, this
Like,
is your worst
I
nightmare
don't,
usually.
it is my worst nightmare. I need constant noise, constant activity.
Yeah.
And if I don't have it, it feels weird and I don't want it. But I sat in that being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and it didn't end up being that scary.
So you kind of
was
made
fun.
it through that, like uncomfort. So initially it was kind of uncomfortable, and then something switched. Do you remember when it switched? Like what you were doing? Were you on some sort of Netflix marathon?
Probably eating chips. Where I was like, that's pretty great, actually.
Because you were eating chips for pleasure, not to repress.
Maybe.
It was just like doing whatever you wanted without
Yeah.
considering anyone else.
Yep.
I also just want to normalize the act of, I mean, I don't have a chaotic household, obviously, but I want to normalize the act of sitting in your car before going in somewhere. I'm sure many mothers or parents can relate. And there's something about that little snippet of a moment where
Transition.
it's a, yeah, where you, but, and like giving yourself that time before to
Mhm.
transition or before transitioning to the next activity thing, whatever it is in your life. So yeah, I'm glad you said that because I'm sure a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Right. And working from home for 10 years, there was no transition. I would go straight one to the other, one to the other, like, so I think I'm not very good at it. Like, you know, having that space in between.
And as you said, you're uncomfortable in that space too.
Yeah.
So why would you give it to yourself?
Right.
Or like make it happen. Yeah.
Yep.
Yay, this is the start of something very new
I would highly recommend.
And beautiful.
and beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll share something that will lead to a question, which this is like big, it's okay. So I haven't told you guys this yet, so I'm going to tell everyone at the same time. But I got my blood test results from so just to recap, I don't know if it's weird we're doing this here, but it's going to happen live, you guys, stay tuned. But I had a blood test to see if I had any eggs left in my reserves. One reserve?
Oh yeah.
Multiple reserves?
Right. I don't know. I'm not
I mean,
a biologist.
is that what you're calling a fallopian tube?
No.
I
Where do the
reserve?
eggs
What do you
live?
call it?
Where do the eggs live?
Fallopian tube, right?
The
No,
eggs-
ovary,
Excuse
ovary,
me.
ovary.
The
Every
fallopian tube is
listener
like
right
the
now is
train.
like, carry on. But the answer is I don't have any left. Okay.
Oh.
But before we look sad,
Oh.
which is also what people do, which is really interesting, when you share a news and I am at peace with this news and I'll explain more, but then you see people's eyebrows furrow, and I'll never forget, I write about this in my book, but I'll never forget Dr. Jean Angelo's eyebrows when she told me I have lymphoma. And there's the sorrow or pity people carry in their brow. You're doing it.
Do
Tara.
some?
You're
Yeah.
doing it right now. But it's really interesting and it's totally normal. It's a sense of feeling that's coming out in the facial expression, right?
Yeah,
So but it's interesting to like notice other people.
Well, to me, like you're just super excited about something, so that news,
Right,
like
they hit you.
you're like leading us on for
Right.
something else. I felt. And
Well, I think I'm just trying to come at it from the place that I just got the call yesterday to tell me. And the good thing is I have 17 eggs that are frozen, right?
Yeah, thank
And
God you did that.
which that nurse practitioner who got this form requested for me to have the blood test informed me that that doesn't mean you'll have 17 babies, right? Which
So condescending. Fallopian tubes are where the eggs live. Come on. We know our biology.
I've literally Googled, can someone in menopause carry a baby? Because I don't understand how babies are made. But in case you were wondering, they can. Haven't had my period for, it'll be a year. I don't know the exact date, but by the end of May, I'll technically be in menopause because it'll be 1 day since I had my period.
Wow.
And she said I could have gotten a test to see if I was in menopause, but because I haven't had my period,
That pretty much is it.
it pretty
That
much,
is
yeah,
the
exactly.
test.
The test
Yeah.
would have said I'm in menopause. But
Right.
she also said it ain't over till the fat lady sings. Are we still saying that? That's weird. But in the sense that if I get my period tomorrow, then I'm not in menopause, obviously. So I don't know, it all seems
So weird.
weird. But so this is what because at first I was like, should I be sad? Okay, I think yeah, I'm sad. And then I was like, well, but am I sad just because I should
think
be
I should be
sad?
sad.
And because first things first, when I first started getting treatment, I assumed it was done. Like before going into
Right, you
treatment,
closed
we
up shop.
froze the
You're like-
eggs for this exact
Yeah.
reason. And I was like, and then a doctor or two along the way were like, oh no, maybe there's still a chance. And I was like, oh, okay. So the assumption of this was already there. And I already decided pretty much, I mean, I've been up and down with, I'll probably do another episode on that, but like having kids, not having kids, how do we go about having kids? But I had already decided that once the oncologist gives me the okay when maintenance is finished, that IVF would be the way to go. Like, let's just use those eggs. Let's not dilly-dally. So the good thing is it makes it like not a question, right? It's not like, well, maybe we'll try naturally for a few months to
Right.
get pregnant,
Right.
Now you have
and
a
it just
plan.
delays the time, you know, and
Yeah.
even if I maybe had some eggs left, it could have maybe worked, but it might not, you know? So
Yeah.
all that to say is it gives answers. And it was a neat little coming like full circle moment because when I went on my retreat with my favorite teacher, Mary Beth LaRue, and there was a woman on the retreat, this was in Mexico in November, and the woman on the retreat, Lauren, she's this like coach from New York. So she's like super loving and spiritual and then also like no nonsense New Yorker. And she was asking, we were talking about this situation, and I was like, well, I don't know if I can have kids myself, or I don't know. I was like, I don't know anything, basically. I don't know what I'm doing. And she was like, well, you need to get some answers, which sounds obvious, you know, but like I will not forget her saying that in that moment and then coming home from that trip and taking the initiative to start to figure out why I don't have my period, which took a bunch of tries
Yeah.
with various doctors in various ways, but I finally got there. So yeah, that's why I think I'm fine. How do you feel?
Why do you think you're fine?
Well, I
It's a
mean,
plan. It's like
Because it's
not
a plan.
like okay, well maybe
Okay.
it could happen this way, maybe it could happen that way.
Yes.
It's like it's
You
gonna
know-
happen this way.
You know a little bit more. You have
Yeah,
a little
more
bit more
information.
information. Okay.
and I think too, in the grand scheme of like all the things I've been through, this is not bad. It's not bad news.
Right.
You know, like it's not bad news really.
Kind of confirming what you would have thought like,
Exactly.
2.5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, like-
Exactly. So I had a couple questions for you too. One of them is,
Oh boy.
what would you do in my shoes?
Oh.
Because
That's a
the
good
other thing
question.
is, so I'm 40, right? Y'all wanted kids like you were like 30 years old, I remember, and you were like, let's do this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Pretty much,
Practically
both of you?
before marriage, both of us.
Pretty much?
Practically.
So you had what I feel like is that biological clock that,
I also wanted to be a mom from like
Right.
I always say you were my first baby. Like I wanted it. I played dolls religiously.
You were practicing.
I wanted to be a mom. So that
Okay.
I had a different kind of like
Yeah.
you know.
so the clock would, not that that's the biological
It
clock
wasn't
when you're little, but like
clockish. It was more like
the whole time you knew.
this is I knew I wanted this.
Yeah.
I could have done it earlier. I could have, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like it was situation that made it 30, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
What about you? Did you always want?
I I actually wanted to adopt, and that was
That's
our
right.
first argument, my husband and I, because he wanted his biological children. And my opinion was, well, there's so many kids that need love already. Why would we make more kids when we could just help ones that are already here?
And you were a social worker, so you came at it from like a different, you had a whole different perspective on it too.
a whole different perspective. Yeah, but then we just the children found us. I'll put it that way. They were miracles, like I was, unplanned pregnancies. We had one too many drinks one night, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So I don't no, the clock didn't have time to set.
Okay,
It might have, but
Yeah, I
So-
don't think it had anything
So
to do with
if
the
you could
contest.
put yourself, and both of you were maybe in different places, as to like how you wanted kids or why you wanted kids or how you wanted that to play out. So if you were now 40, as you, not as me, without children, wait, basically in my situation, what would you do? Do you think you would still want to go ahead and have kids?
I would 100% yes.
Yeah.
If that's something that you want.
But I'm talking about you. What do you want?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What do you want in this
And
big
yeah,
story
let's
situation?
go IVF, like
Yeah.
pedal to the metal, like
Because there's also the surrogacy option. There's also like I
I
didn't
would-
dive into adoption too much, but there's so
I'd,
okay.
I'd at least throw a shot at IVF and see how that takes, and yeah.
Yeah, same for me. Same for me. My really good friend just had a baby. She's 45, and anyway, it's just a beautiful story. It was a very hard road for her.
Right.
Yeah, and she's gorgeous. She's so gorgeous, and I really think yes, that's a good. I was thinking too. I was like, for if I think about when I'm 40, when she's now I'm not 40 now, but during those times that would have been the sweetest time to have kids. Like I feel like I was so much better equipped by the time we had Phoenix. Like it was, so you have had all those years of growing in life and kind of
Wisdom.
yeah, wisdom. Thank you.
I'm so wise.
Especially about female reproductive parts.
Yeah. Anytime you need a biology lesson, call your sisters. All right, thank you. I figured that. Just wanted to confirm.
What would you do if you were you?
Well, this is the windy road I've been on, and I do feel like there was a period not all that long ago that I was like, I don't even know if I want a kid anymore.
Right.
It felt like the mountain was so big to climb. Yeah, but then going to see this private nurse practitioner, paying $200 for her to tell me I can't have 17 children and give me a paper to go have a blood test, which I feel like another doctor could have given me that paper for free, but they never did, so that's fine. Yeah, it's like it renewed a hope in me, I guess. And I've always been I thought I've been careful to not, because I find we often set ourselves up so that we don't get disappointed, right? So we like prepare ourselves and we don't want to talk about the thing that we really want because we don't want it to not happen. And then other people know we want that. And then, so I've always been hyper aware of that and not wanting to do that.
I was going to say, as part of you, like when you pulled back from the idea of wanting a baby, was that part of it? Were you just protecting your little heart?
So that's where I'm not sure anymore because I didn't think so. But then once I saw this other kind of route, which would be IVF, which might have been a route all along, I think it like opened up a door again. But I have to say, I think it's real. I think it was a truth that I had, period. Like, and I still kind of do of like, do we do this? I can pick that up. I'm hearing that. They're playing footsies under the chair.
Tara was kicking me.
No.
Sorry.
It's in my way.
But yeah, I think there's definitely a version of me that envisions a life child-free and doesn't think that would be so awful or bad. Sorry, it's less. I think it could be a really beautiful life too.
Yeah.
So that's where I still don't live fully on one side of the fence or the other completely. But I have this big old faith and trust that it'll figure itself out. And I know that if I want something, I can get it.
Yes.
I do know that.
Yes.
So that's where it's like, I just have to really want it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to, that's it. And I think maybe that's where you are at right now.
Yeah.
Is wondering if that is what you want.
Exactly.
And there's no one who's better at connecting with her gut instinct than you.
Well, I thought so. But yeah, this has been a good challenge for that. All right, Nikki, what's your question?
Okay, my question was how
It was.
okay,
She's making it up. She's
I
really
would
making
totally
it up
make it up
right
as I
now.
go. Okay.
She's like,
Okay. So what is it about one of your sisters One or both?
Which one do you
Which
love
You
the most?
pitted against each other?
What is it about your sister's life that you would want in yours more?
Oh.
So either the way they live, or maybe something they have, or what?
I want
is
Tara's
it-
pool. No, actually, I want both of your pools. Yours is great too.
Thank you. Above
No.
ground, I mean.
Yeah, above. I know. We always have this thing for below ground pools.
No,
Tara
just
wins
so
for
much
that.
better. They look like it looks like a resort back there. A resort in Knowlton.
Okay, I might need a second though to think of a real answer.
Yeah. So Jamie, I would want your spontaneous, um, like your spontaneous, just social life. I would want. I think I would want yours. Just the time that you had for like social connections. I think that's what I'm craving in my life. That's what I'd like, not steal from you, but like you get to have it, but I get to have it too.
You want it to.
I want it. Yeah. Like I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
And Tara, I really love
Why?
I really, really love all of the investment and time and money that you guys have taken for family vacations. I just love that. The memories you've created, that's been something I've admired. And I'm trying to get more of that in my life. So we are planning a trip to Nova Scotia.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. We gave up on vacations for a little bit there because they were so stressful. But when the kids were little, and then it got expensive, and then so now we're gonna do it. I think you do that. You have that priority
Yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
Jamie, with your social connections and your building community ties, I just find that so rich. Like, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tara, do you have an answer?
You want to go first?
I can. Yeah, I really do want your pools, but
It could be that, yeah. And
But
you can name a body part too if you want.
oh, well, there's so many things we could do here. But I actually, it's so interesting because I was going to different characteristics that you each have, and but I want your children.
Oh.
No, but
Yeah.
and like we've had some really deep conversations recently because, and I think there was like a click in me when we were talking about how annoying they can be and how hard it can be to be a parent. They each have 3 children, which seems crazy to me, but we are 3 children, obviously, which I love. So, I get that. But there was like a click that happened when I thought you guys would like not run away from your family, but like, take space from them at any opportunity. And you were both like, no. I would not. Like, and yes, it was amazing for you to have that getaway. There's obviously a normal amount
Right.
of like taking space from anyone in your life, but um yeah, the love that you have for these weirdos that you've created yourself, and like I wish I could spend more time with them. That's something that I would crave to do, and I always found as soon as you started having more children each, I got overwhelmed by trying to keep it fair to spend time with each of them evenly. So I just don't spend time with any of them. I know, I know. But no, I think it's more just like, and it's been really neat to witness you both as mothers. And I know I would be a different type of mother than each of you, but I think I would take from each of you too in different ways. And like, I used to find you to be very different as mothers. And I think there was a period where you didn't quite understand each other. That was my viewpoint of it when the kids were younger. And I was like, I don't know, guys, it just seems hard being a mom. Like, maybe people should just like be like, you do you and I'll do me. And, but, and it did, I think, reach that point, and that was from my outsider's perspective. So, but now I get to see you both with like these growing humans that are, really beautiful people in all the ways, in their own ways. Like, I just got to see Tara's boys working at Virgin Hill and saying hi to me. I don't know. I was like, it was a brief interaction, and Ollie I used to play with when he was little. We were very close because he was my first nephew, and now he's a teenage. He's 18. He's a grown up.
He's an adult. He's voting this
That's
year.
crazy.
Like, I know.
And like, I don't have that connection with him anymore, but I think I do. Like I can feel it, and like even though we don't talk a lot, and but yeah. So I think I would be. The shorter answer is more like I would take mothering qualities from each of you.
That's beautiful,
Thank
Jamie.
you. It's very nice.
That's so nice.
Tara, what do you want?
Yeah,
I want
Tara,
your energy, Jamie. Your can-do-itedness.
Yes, the attitude.
That like
the
just
attitude.
do it. Just yep, let's go.
Yeah.
The energy and everything that goes with that. I'd take just like an ounce of that, actually.
Well, the positive attitude too, right? That's
Yeah.
I think you and I are more prone to negativity a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then Nikki, I think this is gonna sound so silly, but your wisdom, like you are wise, and I would take an ounce of that.
Her
too.
brain. You want her brain?
I would take the whole brain.
Not the part that is aware of biology.
Yeah, the part of
That-
female
that one.
anatomy. I would take that one.
That one I can keep.
Yeah, who needs it?
That was a really nice question.
Oh, yeah. Well, those answers were beautiful, just heartwarming. I thought you guys would want my varicose vein. No, not
I want her a sleepy eye. Just the one.
I do love your smiles, by the way.
Oh, we all have great
like,
smiles.
Can we just say, no, excuse me. You have great smiles, okay? Miss White Teeth.
You have white teeth.
Oh, I was born with yellow teeth. Listen, you don't have to lie to me because it was Savannah who took me by the face at one point.
The
And
sweet little angel that she is.
she was in her little princess dress with her little curls, and she was playing with her magic wand, and she held me by the face, and she goes, "Mummy, you have the most beautiful yellow teeth."
Oh, angelic. What a moment.
What a moment. It was
A
just
sweet
I
angel.
can't wait to be a mom.
You're gonna love it, Jamie.
Well, honestly, I think we've kept them long enough. What do you think?
We'll let you go. You guys got to do laundry or something.
I hope you were doing laundry during this because it
Yeah,
makes
probably.
laundry better when you listen to us.
Yes, it does.
Thank you so much for being here, sisters. Thank you for listening. If you were listening, and if you're listening right until this very point, go to Virgin Hill and you'll get a free coffee.
Oh,
I just said that.
oh,
I just made that up.
Tara, we only have 1 or 2 fans. Are you prepared? Are you prepared to give away 1 or 2
She
copies?
knows I've been building this podcast for 60 episodes, but she keeps saying we only have 1 or 2 fans. No, but really, message me and I'll give you a code for a free coffee.
Oh.
Tara's like, that doesn't exist. I'll take you for a coffee. I'll get it for free, okay?
I'll make you a coffee at my house.
See you there. Thank you all for listening. We can't wait till the next episode. Please keep sending your questions. As in, please send them. Don't keep sending them because no one's sending them. So send us any questions you have in the podcast. Okay, we love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.